Writing is an amazing practice to have. I have written a lot of crap to get good at writing, but I'm now a really good writer because I've just done it enough. But I'm going to give you something that has taken me from not really writing great to being able to write pretty efficiently and effectively. And this is the framework I use. Ready?
Hey there, expert. If you're a consultant looking to grow your practice to 500K and beyond, then this masterclass is a preview into some of the strategies and tactics we teach our experts around sales, marketing, and how to create high converting offers and delivery system so they can enjoy more profit without sacrificing their lifestyle. Now, if you like this session, please give us a like, a subscribe, or even comment. Every bit of engagement helps get this message out to more people. Anyway, enjoy the masterclass, and we hope to see you in person, on a call, or at one of our events soon.
Welcome to today's masterclass. Okay, let me set the tone for why this is an important masterclass for you to consider. Over the last 12 months, we've touched on it a few times, but the number one way that I generate most of my initial engagement inquiry into our business and brand is through content. Now, content's this big word that's usually miscontrived or ill-conceived. People think to do content, you've just got to post something, and like, what's the strategy for it? Take a photo, write a little post. But when it comes to using content to generate business, how do you do it? What's the system that I use? What's the process that I use? And how can you improve your content creation game so you can attract more ideal customers? And what's really interesting is content is one of those things that when you put it out onto social media or you email people, they're like micro-salespeople. And what I mean by that is right now, I've probably done, over the last 12 months, probably done anywhere from 50 to 100 posts that I've written. And they've all been those pieces of content have in some way, shape, or form influenced the way someone thinks about who I am and what I do, has been the catalyst for someone to reach out to talk about what we do, or basically increased our brand or reputation online in a big way. So it's improved my personal brand. Just in the chat, can anyone let me know? Just say yes or no in the chat if you would create a piece of content at least once a week and post it. Once a week and post it. Can you just let me know in the chat, just so I, just to get a bit of a gauge. Starting next week, nice. Frankie, no, not yet, mate. Elmira, yes. Nano, yes. Derek, yes. Catherine, yes. Perfect. And just put a $ in the chat if you know or are aware that your content has created or led to a booking or a sale. Just put a $ in the chat if you have. And if you haven't, you could just put a big X, right? Nice. Okay. Elmira, cool. Catherine, nice. Okay. Antoinette, good. Derek, question mark. Cool. Okay. So isn't that interesting? If you wouldn't mind, just in a couple of maybe in like 20 or 30 seconds, if I could just get you to share Elmira, Catherine, and Antoinette. We'll start with you, Elmira. Give us an example of how content's helped you and how it's led to a sale for you. If you could just share that, that'd be awesome.
I put a post on LinkedIn about creating a story.
Yep.
And literally the next day I had a booking from someone that I had never reached out to before. I had no idea who she was. She came on a call because she had read that post and wanted to know how I could help her create her personal brand and her story. We talked. She was a fit. We had a lunch call. She's on board. Okay.
Winning. Love that.
And that's for the B program.
Yeah, bigger program.
No, my B program, my higher
your bigger one.
Program.
Higher price program. Yeah. Love that. Even better. Perfect. Catherine, how about you?
Uh, s- Quite a few people read my post and resonated with what my content was, and then let you book a call. Yeah,
Love that.
Mhm.
That's good.
Those are my
It's
wall.
yeah, post on you all. Perfect. And Etria, how about you? Can you give us an example? I'd love to hear from you as well, and then we'll dive into how we do this.
I've got a book as well, and I think it's a combination of my book and then the continuous posting because people look for you active and alive. And so I had
Yeah,
a comment last week that said, "Hey, I've been looking at your YouTube, I've been looking at your LinkedIn, you know, and I'm active in a particular field, a particular field of expertise." So they called and they've booked and they've bought. So it's pretty cool, really. But I know I've got to be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Content. So everyone, today, what I want to do, if you aren't used to creating content, is and enter it. That's awesome. You got a book, you got assets. Elmira put a post up, got a booking. Catherine, like, people resonate with your post. The challenge with content is, how do you write content that links to what you do professionally, or hints at how you can help someone professionally without it sounding like a sales pitch every single time? So I have a method, and I have a way that I frame. This is these days I don't use this as much because I've done it so much, I'm used to it. But what I have used, and this is what helped me in the first year of creating content to be consistent, is to look at content as, when you write content, I want you to do it through the lens that it's there to deliver an insight. Okay. Insights are what gets people engaged. Insights are normally a lesson. They're normally a perspective. Oh, look at that. How's that? Or they're usually a different take on a topic. Now, what I'll do is I'll share my iPad and then I'll give you a framework. So there are a couple of lenses that we look through your content through, right? There are two parts. The first is, we've got personal, and the second we've got is professional. Now, the biggest misconception that people have is that you've got to separate the two. You've got to have a personal Frank and you've got to have a professional Frank. You've got to have a personal Elmira and you've got to have a professional Elmira. The reality is, however, that both of these things make up you. So trying to separate them and go, well, on LinkedIn, I'll be professional, and on Facebook, I'll be personal, and on my email, I'll be very corporate, is a huge error. People buy from people, and people will buy more when they feel like they know you, like you, and trust you. And so content is a great way to get your personality out into the marketplace, so people feel like they know you before they even buy from you. And that's super important. A great point today, Catherine and I, we were jamming and talking, and I'm not sure who said it, but someone made a comment about, like, basically what they were saying is, how do I write content for someone or with someone, like, or to attract someone,
The question was, how can I write a content for my audience?
or for my audience? That was
Writing
it.
for
How can
someone.
I write content for my audience? And the answer to that is, you don't ever write content for anyone other than yourself, with your audience in mind, with your prospects in mind. So what I mean by that is, you be yourself. You don't need to change who you are. You need to be who you are, and people will resonate with who you are. And you mix it up between personal and professional. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to give you a couple of lenses that we're going to look through, because this is what shapes content. Okay, so the first thing that we look at is, there are four buckets that we want to, or I call these lenses that we want to look through when it comes to creating content. The first is, you want to have a look at your principles. And that means, what do you believe? What do you believe about anything? What do you believe about food? What do you believe about relationships? What do you believe about, sales? What do you believe about marketing? Like, have an opinion, right? Have an opinion. Share your opinion. What do you think about, the color blue? I don't know. Like, that's a lens, right? I'm going to share an opinion about this topic. Cool. Second thing is to share your thoughts on a problem. So the problem means, which means, okay, this is something that I don't like. This is something that I avoid. This is a challenge I see. This is an issue. So a problem is a problem, challenge, or a solution, like to a problem. So how do you solve a problem? So I always look at things like, here's a problem that I see all the time. Here is a challenge that I see people have. Here is an issue that I see people face. And so you want to expose a problem that your market may have, but it's usually based on something a topic that is relevant to you at the time. So the other day I had a chat with a client, and a client said to me, I need more leads. And I said, well, the biggest problem you have is not that you need more leads. It's just that your offer articulation is poor. So anytime that you talk about what you do, you'll never generate a lead, because when you speak about what you do, it's hard to understand and it's not compelling. So the problem I exposed was that your offer was average. And then I turned that into a post, and we'll share with you today how we do that. The third thing is we've got to look at a plan or a process. And what I mean by that is, how do you do something? How do you operate? How do you do something or perform something? Or how do you operate? Like, what's the plan? What's the process that you use, in your life around something? So you want to share a process. And the last part is proof. You want to talk about a story, or why something works. Story about your relationship, a story about a client, a story about a prospect, a story about a partner, a story about a referral, a story about whatever it is. Stories are great because they show proof of concept, or proof of subject matter, or proof of, like the fact that you're active and doing something. And now Antoinette said something like, when you're active, you're attractive, right? And it's so true. When you post content, people start to get to know you, and they engage with you, and they feel like you're someone who's got substance. So what we do is, how I look at these lenses, everyone, and we're gonna look at this today as a bit of as for fun. Just for fun, just bear with me for this, is I want you to draw 4 lines down a page like this, and then I want you to draw 4 lines across a page like this. And in the top left here, we're going to talk about topics. And at the top, we're going to talk about themes. On the right, we're going to talk about frames. Now, I'm sharing this with you because sometimes, as a creative person, we're not all creative. Like, believe it or not, we're not all creative. Sometimes some people are too logical, too literal. So it's hard for them to write stuff like, oh, is this any good? So we're going to share a few things with you guys today to really make sure that you have the system to do it. So all I want you to do is, we're going to think of and demonstrate a couple of things. So 2 of these, 1, 2, are going to be personal topics, and 1, 2 of these things are going to be professional topics to do with your business or something like that. So one's to do with business and one's to do with personal. And all I want you to do is think of a topic that relates to you personally, something that's come up for you recently. Today we had an example of someone who was talking about wanting to lose weight. Another person was talking about conflicts, a couple of conflicts they were having. In professional, we had people who were talking about accountability or, supplier management. Whatever the topic is, don't judge it. Just put down 2 personal topics and 2 professional topics. And when you've got those two topics, so just put in the chat, all I need you to do is when you've got these, just so I can interact with you guys on this, is go P and you go 1, 2, and then B for business, 1, 2, and just put in the chat like that, so I can sort of see what the topics are that you've come up with. And then we'll brainstorm it. I don't have any music, so you have to put up with the lovely silence, but I'll give you guys 60 seconds, 4 topics, 2 personal, 2 professional, and go. So what you find, guys, is topics are normally things that you'll find that personal are things that are really relevant to you, and you'll find that business are often related to others. Like, it's not a rule, but you'll just find that. You'll find that, you'll be talking about something to do with a client or something you're working on for your business. And then what you want to do down the left side is you want to, these are great, guys. You guys are nailing it. 2, 3. I've come up 1 box short. Forgive me. So on the bottom, you want to go write down the lenses that we look through. So on the top, you would have your 2 personal and your 2 professional or business. They're there. So you would go 1, principles. What do you believe? Problems. What do you do, or how do you sort of solve them or address them? Plan or process. How do you deal with it? How do you create it? How? And story is proof. That's a story. Why? What? I kind of put a bit of a why. Why did it work? What happened? Story, proof, case study, before and after. Tell a story. So what you want to do now is you go, cool. At the top, you've got your topics or your themes, and on the left you've got your frames. And so in the middle here, we've got the topics that we can create, right? Topics or titles. So I just call it, like, I think about these like titles, like if you were to write a post. And so what I do is I kind of start thinking, okay, balance. If I took balance, for example, and I went down the list and I said balance. What do I believe about balance? What's a good title for balance? Balance. What do I believe about balance? And I might say, what do I think about balance? Balance. Sit there for a second. I'm like, okay, balance doesn't matter. Oh, controversial. Maybe that's how I think about balance. It's like, maybe balance doesn't matter. Maybe I've got a different take on it. Interesting. So I've got a title, or I can write a little bit about that. I might go balance. What are problems people have with balance? Burnout. Process. What do people think about, like, what's my strategy for balance? What's my process for balance? I might say perfect week plan. Talk about how I map out my perfect week. Cool. What's a story about balance? I could tell a story about, 80-20 rule. How I realized balance isn't about how much time you spend. It's about how much impact you can make. I'll tell a story about that. So there you go. Now I've got like 4 topics. And then you could go through the next one. So say, if, personally, principles, what do I believe about having a stroke, suffering a stroke? What do I believe it's done or created, or how has it helped or hindered me? So you might write that, like, relearning, or gratitude. What could be topics, right? These are the titles. Problems, you might say like something to do with, dealing with the unexpected. Process, how do you manage it? So how do you manage a health challenge? How do you deal with it? How have you had to change or adapt? You might call it adapt and evolve. What's a story? You might tell the story of it, how it happened. So now we've got 8 topics. Then I might go principles, clients frustrated. And I might go frustration, give up or level up, right? Often when you're frustrated, it's not a sign that you should give up. It's actually a sign that you should level up. Talk about that. Problems, clients frustrated. Talk about expectations, expectation management. A plan or a process, clients frustrated. What's the process? How do you deal with it? You talk about conflict management. What's your philosophy on it? Maybe it's about a win-win. That's a top title. Proof. Tell a story about how, breakdown equals breakthrough. So does everyone understand? Can everyone see this? Like if I've got 12 titles now about things, and they're very much, if these were about me, balance, stroke, client frustrated, I've got 12 titles that personally and professionally relate to me, that I can start talking about, that I can share with people. But then I just need a framework to make sure that it links with something that could be valuable for the reader. We'll get to that in a second. And just in the chat, just put a Y in the chat if this is making sense. If just a yes for you're getting it, just so I know. Yep. You could think about it. If you just sat down on a Sunday, you just wrote out these buckets. They always stay the same, these lenses, and then you just thought of 4 topics. Business. What are a couple of top titles that have come up? Topics that have come up for me last week. It was to do with, negotiation. It was to do with, contract review. That's what came up. Then you might go, cool. Personal. What came up? Fatigue, or expectations, or it might be going to the beach. Beach might represent something to you, right? Like family could be another. And then you sit down and then you just put them together. Bang, 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 bang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 topics. If you do 2 topics a week, hey, look at that. That's what happens. You get balloons. But there's a month's worth of content. You just need to spend 10, 15 minutes going through it. Like, it's funny because you think LinkedIn outbound, how much topics could I get with that? Well, LinkedIn outbound, what are the principles? What do I believe about outbound? Well, you might say offers equal opportunity. Problems, spam mentality. There's a problem that how people talk about it. You might go process with LinkedIn, 3-step leads. Cool, 3-step leads. That sounds good. Proof, from connection to client. Done, bang. Look at that. I've now got 16 topics and titles that I can work with. 16. If I do 2 a week, that's a month's worth of content. Now I could turn these into videos. I could just do a video about them. I could do them in as a Word doc, as an email, written. I could interview somebody on it. I might say, hey, so Frank, let's have a chat. What do you think about balance? What does balance mean to you? We have a jam on it, and we can record it, take the best bits out of it. But when you've got if you guys have 3 or more titles at the moment, can you just put the number 3 in the chat, just so I know that you're up to date, you're up to scratch with me. Got 3. Just want to make sure that you got at least 3. Cool. Rory's got 3. Antoinette's got 3. Nano's got 3. Frank's got 3. Freaking cool. Derek's got 3. Brilliant. Rushing it. Now the question is, Amari's got 3. Love it. Great runner. Got these titles. Got these topics. How do I turn this into something that is compelling enough for people to read?
Hey, if you're enjoying what you're hearing so far, please like, subscribe, and comment. Getting this out to more people is why we do it, and hearing from you makes it all worthwhile. So please let us know. And by the way, if you'd like more information about the Expert Project, head on over to expertproject.com/launch, where you can tell us a bit more about your business, what you might be needing, how we might be able to help, and book a call with one of our team so we can help you grow your consulting business today.
Now, writing is an amazing practice to have. I have written a lot of crap to get good at writing, but I'm now a really good writer because I've just done it enough. But I'm going to give you something that has taken me from not really writing great to being able to write pretty efficiently and effectively. And this is the framework I use. Ready? So I use this. It's worth writing this down. So I always think of what is the title or the topic? And I want you to think of this. This is called a hook. Now, a hook in marketing means a phrase that gets someone's attention. So a great way an example of that, if I go back here, let me take a couple, and I go, if it's emotional, something that's really emotional, you might say, we might say something like the stroke. You go, how has stroke changed everything? Now people are interested in that, versus if you just say, I had a health problem, or balance, most people burn out and doing this one thing. That's a hook. Client frustrated. Frustrated clients make more money than happy ones. Here's why. Oh, that's unconventional. Really? See, so you take that's a hook. Another thing with LinkedIn, I've basically written this one here. 3-step leads, or, from connection to client in 10 minutes. Here's how you can do it. That's a hook. Now, a hook is just practice. Now, and we can have a play with these today. I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to use AI to speed this up so you guys can see it working. Then what we're going to do is talk about why. So why is it important? And what are the benefits? So I often think about it have 3 points. What? Why? Here's what it is. Here's why it's important. And, the benefits, or the main points of what you want to say. Then what you need to do is you need to turn it into a lesson. And a lesson is how you flip the story and link it to your marketplace. So I often just assume that the people who are viewing my posts, even though they might be friends and family, I just assume they're people who might be interested in doing something, with me as a business owner, right? Just assume it. So I go, a lesson equals basically, how does this link or apply to your client. And then the last part is apply. What is your prescription or recommendation to your client? I say client, but think of it like a prospect. So you've got what, why, lesson, apply. What, why, lesson, apply. Here's the title. Here's what's important. Here's how it links to you and how you can apply it to your own life. And here's what I recommend you do, or here is my prescription for you. So what I want you to do is I'd like everyone now to just put into the chat, choose one of your topics that you will just, it could be any, doesn't matter. One of the titles that you, all you want to do is put the title and then the topic and then the title into the chat. So it's, well, in the chat, you put the title and the topic in the chat, or either vice versa, just so I can have a look at these, okay? And then I'll give you a bit of a demo just to speed it up so you can see how it works. Choose a topic and a title. Okay, nice. Getting through it, yep. So we're going to do a couple today. I'm going to show you a couple, just so we can keep coming, guys. I'll wait till everyone's got. There's old dog, new tricks. Love it. So as an example, because I could just riff with one of you guys and we could write something out, but I want to use, I'm going to take someone, we can do a few, right? I'm going to give you guys a bit of a prompt that you can use, and then we'll do a few together so you can see. So for example, this is the prompt that I would use. Okay. So what I do is I use Claude mostly, because it's a better writer. So Claude is Claude.ai. Now, I want to be clear. I don't use AI to do all my writing. I'm just using this today as a demonstration of how you can do your writing. Is AI really good? AI is really good if you give it some context. So, for example, Frank, I might, maybe if you can unmute yourself, just we could talk about your topic just for something different. Then I'll choose someone else as well. So, Frankie, you can, yeah, man. So what we do is I'm going to put this in like that, using the framework of topic, hook, important insights and benefits, lesson, how this has a link to my clients, and the prescription for my clients and how they can apply it. So now, yeah, you could use this for ChatGPT as well, Catherine. This works both. So Frank, what I'd say is, then I give it some context. So we might say, can you tell me a little bit about in your business? You might say, let's just tell it a story, right? To start with. So what we might do is go, tell ChatGPT a little bit, or Claude, a little bit about your situation. So we might, talk about trying to think of a really good way to do this. Okay, let's just start with who you work with. So let's assume, Frank, because you work with, say, I work with insurance brokers to help them grow their brokerages. Oh, can't see my screen. Thank you. Let's try that again. To help them grow their brokerages so they can make more money and, you know, have a better lifestyle, something like that, Frank. This is just an example. Now what you could do is go, the topic, you know, I want this to relate to is, you know, so do you want to tell the story, Frank? Just give us a bit of an in and I'll type it.
I recently had a stroke. It was April last year.
Yeah.
Which is totally unexpected. The day I had it, I was asleep in bed. I just finished a number of hours ago mixed martial arts and training and all that sort of stuff. So I believe I was a very fit person. There's no signs of anything happening. It's just I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I was having a stroke. I mean, I only knew that because Amanda woke up and realised and made the calls, etc. Because I had no idea what was going on. Half my body was shut down, and obviously couldn't understand my speech. So it was all over to Amanda to organise the ambulances and to get me to hospital as soon as possible. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay. And so what we do, thanks, mate, for sharing there. And I think like the way I see it is, notice everyone, this is personal, right? Like as in this is a personal topic. And so what I could say is, can you turn this into a 350-word social post, no bullets, and make it personal sounding? You know, as in, cool. And then I go, cool, like using this content creation framework. So now, so Frank, we've just given it a bit of context, and we'll just see what it comes up with. So this is how it just uses a framework. So I could turn this here and go, cool. Okay. So let me read this out. Life has a way of throwing unexpected curveballs, and my story is a testament to that. Last year, I woke up like any other day feeling healthy, fit, and ready to tackle whatever challenges lay ahead. I had no warning signs, no red flags, just a regular morning that turned into a fight for my life when I realized I was having a stroke. My speech disappeared, and if it wasn't for my quick thinking partner recognizing something was wrong and calling an ambulance, well, I don't like to think about the alternative. The reality is I was doing everything right. I was active, maintained a healthy lifestyle, and I had no indication that something like this could happen, yet it did. This experience taught me something profound about the work we do in the insurance industry. We're not just selling policies, we're selling a safety net for those moments that no one sees coming. As I work with insurance brokers every day, this experience has given me a whole new perspective on the importance of what you do. You're not just helping clients tick a box or meet a requirement. You're giving families peace of mind for those moments when life decides to rewrite the script without warning. Think about your clients for a moment. How many of them, like me, believe it won't happen to me because they're healthy, active, or young? How many have pushed off getting proper coverage because they think that they have time to figure it out later? My story could be anyone's story. This is why I'm so passionate about helping you grow your brokerages. Every client you reach is another family protected. Every policy you write is another safety net deployed. The work you do matters more than the people realize it until they need it. Don't wait for your clients to learn this lesson the hard way. Share my story, help them understand that protection isn't about living in fear. It's about being prepared for life's unexpected moments, because trust me, when those moments come, having that protection in place makes all the difference. Bang. There's your post.
Pretty good, mate.
Yeah. I didn't do anything really. No. But you see, like that's a perfect example of framework, which takes out the guesswork. This context, which is what makes it unique to you, who you work with, how you help them, and the topic that you want to relate to, like your story, and then tell it you want to turn into, what you want to do. Bang, go. And then that is literally good enough there, Frank, for you to do a post, and you could put that on social media, email today, and you would get so much engagement from it because people are like, oh my God, wow, that's great. Now, on a subtle level, just take a note here. You've linked it to what you do and who you do it for. And you've basically said, that's why you're passionate about doing this. This is why you're passionate about helping these people. So if you have a list of mortgage brokers, or you have people who are mortgage brokers, on a subtle level, you're not overtly saying, now, if you're a mortgage broker, sign up here. But if they read that, they'd be like, oh, Frank, I didn't know that you help mortgage brokers, insurance brokers. Mate, we need to have a chat. Your story really resonated with me, Frank. We need to have a chat. And that's as simple or as hard as content creation needs to be, right? So, mate, thanks for sharing. That's awesome. And I can do this now again, right? And even if let's do another topic. And I'll take Frank's here, and then we can do another one. So let me take another topic. Let's do something more mainstream, right? So we might say, when I say mainstream, like professional. So Antoinette, let's look at yours. Let's look at frustrated clients. The biggest frustration for executives, not what you think. So, okay. So what I'll do is, if you jump off mute there and let me know. You can hear me okay? And I can hear you. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we go, using this. Okay, so say again, using the framework of. So what we'll do is we'll say, I work with
executives to help them level up to more senior roles, to strategic roles. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Topic I want you to relate to is this. Now let's tell it a story.
So most people think that executives don't have enough time to cover an overwhelming workload. And that's why they get frustrated.
And over workload. Yep.
But in talking to a client the other day,
yep,
he said he was exhausted and frustrated.
Yeah.
And the problem wasn't not enough time. The problem was people. He was sick of he was tired of trying to resolve everyone's problems and conflicts.
Mm-hmm.
What we really, shall I carry on?
Yeah. No, you can. That's probably enough. I mean, you can go. Okay. If you wanted to. You could. Mm-hmm. You can keep going if you'd like to.
I'd just say we realised he had a voice in his head that was his father's that said, "Why don't people get it?" Let's see what the Claude does with that.
It was his father's. So would you, just for context, so this doesn't get it muddled, because what it does is it could, that was his father's from when he was a child.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Cool. So great. And then, bang, let's try that. So You know what fascinates me? Everyone thinks executive burnout is about time management. But a conversation with a client last week revealed something much deeper. As he sat across from me, visibly exhausted, he didn't talk about his calendar or endless meetings. Instead, he confided, "I'm just sick of dealing with everyone's problems and conflicts." That's when we had a breakthrough moment. As we dug deeper, we discovered a voice in his head, his father's voice from childhood, repeatedly asking, "Why don't you get it? Why don't people get it?" This voice had been unconsciously shaping his leadership approach for decades, creating frustration every time his team didn't meet his unspoken expectations. This revelation transformed my understanding of executive struggles. While we often focus on time management tools and productivity hacks, the real challenge many leaders face isn't about time at all. It's about the emotional labor of leadership and the unconscious patterns that make it feel heavier than it needs to be. Here's what struck me the most. This executive had been carrying his father's frustrations in his own leadership style, unknowingly creating a cycle of exhaustion that no amount of time management could fix. The real issue wasn't his team's performance. It was the lens through which he viewed their actions. For those of you in executive positions feeling this resonance, here's what I want you to consider. What voice from your past might be coloring your leadership present. The solution isn't about managing time better or pushing people harder. It's about recognizing the inherent patterns and consciously choosing a different response. The next time you feel that familiar frustration rising, pause and ask yourself, whose voice is this really? Understanding that it can be the first step in transforming your leadership approach from one of exhaustion to one of empowerment. Because when we understand our triggers, we can lead with intention rather than reaction. And that makes all the difference in how we experience our role.
It's actually so impressive, isn't it? I'm just...
You wrote so well, Antoinette. Well done.
Thanks.
So, look, so I guess like the frame here that we want to look through, everybody, is like, think about everything in your business as you do it. Like whenever I do something with content, I'm always thinking about it as, or anything, what is the system so I can do this over and over and over again, easier, better, faster, without sacrificing on quality. And so the prompt for everyone here that I'll just give it is how, for context, I work with who to help them achieve what. Okay, I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys just so you have it. Sorry if there's a topic I want to relate to is tell the story. Whoop. Give the context and the story. Yeah. Now, what I'd like you to do is Claude is basically, there's a free version of Claude. You've now got like a couple of things. You've got a framework to now look at the lenses and the themes. So you can create topics and titles. And now you've got a prompt that you can use with AI to produce what I would consider is at least 80 to 90% quality content that you can turn into a post and an email. And even if you'd like to, you could probably turn it into a video. You could do a video about it as well, given the context you could get. But the idea of today's masterclass is to help you understand that content is so valuable because it's not about the likes you get. Of course, that helps. And it's not about whether you are viral or whether you've created like amassed a huge following because of one post. Content is about being consistent. So you start to curate and shape the perception of yourself in the marketplace. So you're basically conditioning people to see you in a certain way and get to know you. And so whenever I share content, it's not because I have no time. It's because I want to inject a bit of who I am and what I do into the people, my connections, followers, and email people. So people feel like they know me. So when it comes time to talk to me, they feel like there's a warmth there. And that warmth is really important because it reduces sales resistance and it increases people's response to you, like, and reactions to you. And so bit of just let me know, like, has that been helpful today? We're almost on the hour, but in the chat, let me know, has it been helpful for you today? Can you take something away from the masterclass today that you can actively use, implement to produce and create better content for yourself and your personal brand? Can you just let me know? Because that's the point of today's masterclass, right? Yeah. And what I'd love you to do, everyone, is do me a big solid rather than just say, yep, between now and like the end of the week. What I'd really, really love you to do is use the frameworks and post a content piece in the arena, in the expert arena, and just share with us, tag me in it and Vaughn, and I'd love to hear and see what you've created using the frameworks and the systems that you've learned from today's masterclass. As I said, it's not everything. It's not going to change the whole game of business, but these 1%ers, as I say, the incremental improvements lead to the exponential growth that you're looking for. It's never just one thing that makes all the difference in business. It's a combination of many things that create the foundation for the success that every one of us wants, which is, more time, more revenue, and we want to make an impact, work with great people. So use the tools you have available to you because they're now available. And if you're not using them, someone else is. Just do it better than the other guys. And so follow that system and you'll be away.
If you've liked today's masterclass, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment so we can hear from you and get this out to more consultants just like you who are looking to grow their practices to 500K and beyond. Helping consultants find their true worth and commercialize it in the marketplace is why we exist. If you'd like to learn how you can grow your consulting business, head on over to expertproject.com. Learn a bit more about what we do, download some more of our free resources, or follow us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want a direct access link into one of our teams so we can learn a bit more about your business, what you're wanting to create, and how we might be able to help, head on over to expertproject.com/launch. Give us a bit of detail about you, your business, and we look forward to having a chat with you and helping you grow your consulting business. In the meantime, take care and bye for now.